Hi, my name is Brenda Salzano, and I'm going to go through some basics on making the dog walking bag that comes on one fat quarter. And these are the pieces that I've already cut out and washed, and I've lightly ironed these pieces. You'll have an inside flap, you'll have the front bottom, the back says front up here, the front of the back and front of flap, meaning that this part will fold down, so then you'll have it like that. So this is one piece, but it's also the back. You'll have two pockets. You have this one, and they're all labeled. You'll have 3 strips of fabric, which will make the strap, but it'll also be your dog collar, an extra dog collar, a slip collar, and the leash. And on the pattern, you will have a little piece that shows you the finished product and tells you what products that you will need to buy. In this case, it's 4 D rings because it looks like a D. And you'll need 2 snaps. Now, if you want to, you can get one of these, and I'm going to try putting this on this particular one, but you don't have to have it. But one of these for an adjustable action on your strap. I also cut out at the top of your fat quarter will be this long strip, and it has bit by bit exactly the steps that you need to follow. So what I do is I will take the first one and then just fold this all down so that's the only thing showing. And then you lay that down, and each time you finish a segment, then just fold it back so it's that particular one. If you're really new to sewing, this is a really handy way to stay on track of where you're at, and even if you get disrupted and you have to go somewhere else. So these are all the pieces, and I will begin showing you the very first thing. The very first thing we're going to do, and it says on here, is cut on the dotted lines for all your main pieces and cut on the solid lines for all strips. Of course, I've already done that part. The second thing, which is actually labeled number 1, but we're going to fold under 1/4 inch top of the pocket A and B, and then stitch with a decorative stitch. That's these 2 pockets. Here's pocket B, and you can see right here at the top, it says B. You're going to fold that towards the inside and then stitch a pretty stitch. Now I do a fancy stitch on there, which makes it just a little more unique. We're going to do that both on pocket B and pocket A. There's pocket A, and we'll fold that under. You can iron it first if you want to, and then stitch, so that your stitch is on the front here. So while I do that part, I will stop this for a moment, and I will do that periodically so you don't have to see the actual sewing. You'll see me step by step as I go along. Okay, I have stitched my pretty stitch on the top. I've also ironed the other seams on the 3 other sides, and I also put them at I cut a little diagonal off just so they won't show from the top. I also did it on the bottom, and then we want to set these aside, both this one and this one. They're already ironed and everything, but they're only sewn on the top. And we'll set those aside because our next instructions say for us to, on the front, fold under C and D and stitch those, just like we did this. C and D is your 2 pieces that we had, and it says D on this one, right there, the white. And here's the inside flap one, and down at the bottom you'll see that it says C. So we're going to do that exactly the same. I'm going to fold those under and stitch, and on this one here, it will be this top part. We fold under the stitch. So this one here is actually the bottom that we're going to do that to, because this is going to be the flap that holds the doggy bags. And this one is the bottom. So this is the top, and we'll fold that under and stitch. This time I won't use a fancy stitch. I'll just do a regular stitch on that. Okay, we have this one all hemmed on the top and on the bottom of the inside flap. Those are both hemmed. And our next instructions say, stitch pocket B to back, stitch pocket A to front. So pocket B is my cookies one, and it says that that one goes to the back. So the back is this part here, the one full piece. This is the back part. However, this part is the front, so it's upside down. That was the one I showed you, that part of the flap. So this cookie pocket is going to be placed here on this back. And just place it near the bottom, but don't get too near where your stitching line is, which is that black line down there. It's going to be placed about like that. And it doesn't matter if it's perfectly centered, just try to eyeball the center on that, and then you're going to sew directly 3 sides, the bottom and both sides, but not the top, obviously, because that's your pocket. I'll do that both for the cookie one and for this one, which will go on this front side, and it will go there. And that's where the phone can go. Your phone, unless you have a really big phone, and then it'll just have to go inside the big pocket. So I'll do that next. Okay, I have that done. Here's our little front with the pocket for the phone or whatever. And it's stitched nice up on the top here. And I have not ironed these sides though, like we did the pockets. We just stitched that part, but the pocket's all on there. It's all stitched clear around. And also this part, which is the back for the treats, says cookies on there. This is all stitched all around. And our instructions now tell us that we're to place grommet on the front of the flap under where it says Dog Mom, or if you want to place it on the inside, you can do that too. And I'm going to put this one on the inside. Normally I put them on the outside, but I'm going to make another one because this is a gift for a friend. I'm going to do it on the inside. This is what the grommet looks like. It'll come in 2 pieces. There'll be a top piece and then a bottom piece. So this is called a curtain grommet, and I got it off of Amazon. And they snap together. And what you have to do is, I take this bottom piece, and I use the inside, and I take a pin on the back side of where I want it, and I'll draw that circle wherever I want it with a pencil or a fabric pin, so that when you wash it again, it comes off if you want to, but you're never going to see that inside pocket, because this is where the bags will go. But anyway, I will make that circle, and then this circle, then the fabric will fit over that, and then you'll put the top part over the top part there. But that's what our next object is to do, and that's putting this grommet piece on, and I probably will show you that first stage. Oh, I also wanted to say that when you're putting on the pockets, when you sew this, it's a good idea to do a couple extra back and forths right here at the top, because there's a lot of stress when you're putting things in and out, and that way you won't get that tearing out. So I put extra back and forths when I did those top spots. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, here's the circle that I've drawn, and it went, since I went on the inside, it actually went on to the inside of the flap. So that's where I'm putting the hole, instead of on this front flap part there. So this is where I'm putting it, and I made a circle, I drew, and now I'm cutting out this circle right here. And you just make a little slot in the center and then cut that around. it's better to cut it a little too small at first than too big. So then I want my bottom part. I want this to fit over that. So the bottom would go on the bottom of the fabric, right? Because this is going to be the top side that you see. And then I have to fit this around. And if I need to, I can make this hole a little bigger. Well, looks like it's going to fit just fine. There's how it fit. You see that? Now this part just snaps onto that. You do have to press pretty hard on that. That goes over the top. There we have it. Grommet on. So now, after we've got that grommet on there, we're going to set, the next thing that says on number 5 is stitch the front piece to the front top. So what this will do is this is the top, and this is the front, this flap here. So when you see, just front the flap, it's got dog mom upside down right now because this is going to be the front. So this is what we're going to put this onto here. We're going to stitch on the solid black line all around, and then we'll trim that back. You want to, you're going to want it inside to inside, so it's right sides together, then stitch it. And we'll leave this bottom part still open because we have to have somewhere to turn it inside out. And then after we've got them all inside out, then we will stitch along this line and close it up. So there's just this for all your baggies to be put in and easily taken out. I'll do this part now. As a matter of fact, I'll probably go ahead and do this and put the back, again, right sides together on the bottom here. Another thing I should mention is that when you put this bottom one on, make sure it lines up on the bottom pieces. Like that. See, it's all on the bottom, and there's going to be a gap of about 1 inch before you'll see the top part fit. It says tab 1 on the corner right here, tab, and then there's another tab over here, and I'll explain the tabs and why that gap is there after I get this done. Okay, I went ahead and I have done both the top and the bottom, sewed it around. I double back and forth where the openings are and trimmed it. I trim it about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. Don't get too close to your stitching. It can easily start to rip out after time. And now we'll just turn it all inside out. And by the way, just as a note, I am not a professional seamstress. I do like designing the patterns and the prints. By the patterns, I mean something like this where it's an easy cut and sew pattern on how to make something, and then it already has one of my prints on this one here. It's the cookie cutter breeds. It's made from, actually the whole design on this was from what I saw on different internet sites of cookies. When you make cookies, you have those little cookie cutters and then you frost them. And so these are basic cookie cutter shapes that I particularly love. And I have a Sheltie on there, Dalmatian, a Scotty, a Beagle, a little hot dog. I mean, it's just a cute little dog. So this would be a good one for somebody who has a pet. Maybe you don't even know to breed, or you don't want to be breed specific. Like I have one that's a corgi, and that's going to be just for corgis, but this could be for anybody. So now we can see, here's our bag, how it's coming together. We can see the gap that we have on each side. That's where the tabs are going to go. That's where the D-ring will go to hold the strap and the lead. You have your little pocket in the back for the cookies. You have the flap that will come down like this, and the inside will be for your phone. And inside, of course, you're going to have this deep pocket. The next thing, though, is this. You don't want this hole here. But we couldn't close that until we've gotten all the sides done. If you'd closed it, then you wouldn't be able to turn it inside out. And I tried to do that once. So anyway, I will now top stitch, and you can do just a regular stitch across right here, right on the hem of the place that you've already hemmed it. Again, that was another thing to do pre that, so you don't have to do it now. So all I'm going to do is just stitch right there, and then you just put your bags in and take them out right there in that part. So next I will be doing that right there, and then what does our thing say here? Oh, and then we're going to do the strips. So on the strips, you're going to have 3 strips. The shorter one is the one I would save for the collar, and you set that aside. The other 2, and I've been playing around with the adjustment thing, I did notice that one of them is slightly wider than the other, so just take that and measure them together, and then cut off that little tiny, I mean, it's not even 1/8 of an inch, but I would make them so they're both the same width, and then you're going to join them together. The 2 long ones, you're going to put right sides together, and you're going to stitch across that a couple times so that it's one long lead or strap. And then what I will do is I will take one edge, after I've sewn that together, I'll take one edge and I will steam it down really good, and then do a double fold. So it's hard to explain, but so I have this one edge, this is a raw edge, this is a raw edge. Then after I get this steamed down, I will fold this top one. You can see here better. Here's where I got it folded down. Then I will fold this side and poke it under the edge there. I'm going to sew this too. So, and then we'll sew down the center. I'll show you more of that in the next video. Anyway, that's what I'm going to be working on next, and then I'll show you what I was doing with that. I think I'll do the lead part next. Okay, I have ironed this so that both sides turn in about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to then fold that in half. So there's no raw edges on the side, and I will sew that down the center. After I get done sewing that all the way down, I'm going to cut off of the end of this lead 2 inches times 2. So I'm going to have 2 inches, and then I'll cut 2 inches, and I'll cut, and I'll have 2 pieces which will become my tabs. And I'll show you what to do next on that. Right now we'll get this all sewed. I have finished doing my leash. This is the leash. No raw edges. I cut off 2 2-inch pieces for the tabs. This is how the tabs work. Each tab will have a D-ring, and you'll just slip that over there, fold it over. That's your D-ring. The D-rings will be sewn in the gap like that. So you'll put each of those on and sew those down. And I will also sew, when I do the 2 D-rings, on the collar, which I went ahead and did that too. I just haven't sewn it yet. But the lead will have 1 snap and 1 D-ring, and the collar will have 1 snap and 1 D-ring on it. And I'm still working out on whether we're going to add this little thing. I'll do some experimenting, and then I'll get back with you. Okay, I've got the leashes done. I decided to leave the little extender out. I've got enough with my collar and the lead to make everything that we need on the purse. So first, let me just show you what the collar looks like. When the collar's done, here's the 1 snap on the one end and the D-ring on the other. Now you want to make sure you get a size where they easily transfer through, like this. Then it's a slip collar. Now remember, this is for emergencies. If you're out walking and there's a stray dog that needs help, and you can take it off and use for that, or maybe your own collar breaks or your lead breaks, then you have this as an extra, which is really versatile, as long as well as having your doggy bag, your treats, your phone, and extra room. So it's a real lightweight, handy little dog walking bag. But anyway, so this is your collar and everything. And what I did was, there's multiple ways that you can put this to make it longer or shorter. So one way is to just go ahead and snap the leash on to this D-ring here, and I just left it open. And you can take the D-ring on your lead. So this is the strap lead, that's the long one. You can take it in and out of this side D-ring, bring both of them up, and I can clip all the pieces there. So then you have, this is how long it is right now. If you want it even longer, you can arrange this. I mean, you can put this so it's not double. You can put your thing here and just put it onto this side. Just play around with it. I mean, there's a lot of different versatile ways you can do this. Do what fits you best. You know, you want a crossbody bag so it's not falling off, and having this all accessible. So however you want to arrange it on there is up to you. I kind of like the collar on the one end. The double. I'll do it the way I like to do it. The long version for me. I like the crossbody bag to be. So there's your collar there. It's just not in the slip collar mode. It's just wrapped right there. And then it fits over my head easily, and is easily to access, you know, my doggy bags, my phone. There's also the big pocket inside. And on the outside, I like the treats out there because sometimes you want your dog to do it down, or you want them to look at you, so you want to be able to get to that treat right away. Of course, you could put them just inside too. It's whatever you want to work for you. But here it is. It's all ready to go to work for you, dog mom. Again, this pattern is all on 1 fat quarter on Spoonflower, and this, if you want extra material, this is also sold as just by the yard. So if you want to make a lining or something, or you want to make an accessory of some sort, like maybe a dog coat, that'd be cute. Anyway, my name is Brenda Salzano, and you can find all my things under Salzanos with an S on Spoonflower. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, drop me an email. Have fun.